HARDSHELL, a powerful Insecticon warrior who hungers for Autobot circuitry.
Welcome back to eBEFOREi Video Reviews. Today I'll be reviewing Transformers Prime Beast Hunter's Cyberverse Commander Class Decepticon HARDSHELL. He's an Insecticon, and really, if you've been watching Transformers Prime, he actually ended up perhaps maybe a little bit underutilized, but I really liked the character overall. They made him pretty big, imposing, and what better way to pay tribute to a big and imposing character than to make a little bitty Cyberverse figure. It's okay, it's fine. I do hope we get a Voyager figure of this guy sometime soon, but as is, we're reviewing this guy right here, so let's take a closer look at the box. You can see he's easy level 1. I'll probably still need to read the directions. Choking hazard, don't shove this down your throat. For ages 5+. Even though this says not for children under 3. So 4, well that's kind of the weird age, isn't it? What do? Let's keep going. Plague missile launcher included! Exclamation point. At first glance, I thought that said plaque missile launcher. That would be pretty disgusting. There's a heavily photoshopped insect mode. Notice it does say that he's a demolitions expert. On the back of the box, you can see he's Commander Class Series 3 figure number 4. Hub sticker, Decepticon Alliance symbol, pretty cool. There's this mosquito mode, robot mode, and you can see that it comes with the same original artwork that all of the Cyberverse figures came with in the Transformers Prime line, even though he comes in the front with this nice updated Beast Hunters-like package. On the bottom of the box is your proof of purchase. So if anyone asks you if you have proof, you can say yes. And on the side of the box, we have technical specs. His strength is an 8, intelligence a 4? Duh. Speed is a 6, endurance is a 10. Woo! Rank is a 9? What? Okay, courage is a 10, fire blast is an 8, and skill is a 2. This guy will not be building campfires or tying Boy Scout knots. Anyway, that's the box review. Let's go ahead and get HARDSHELL opened up. Alright, here's HARDSHELL out of the box and transformed into his insect mode, since he is an Insecticon. And, well, he kind of looks like a mosquito. So this guy's been released in the same wave as Trailcutter, who the very excellent Trailcutter at that. But this one right here, albeit this is an original mold, I just don't know about this one. Let's take a closer look. By far, the best feature on this figure is this insect face. Can you see those teeth? I mean, take a look at that. And for the win, the mouth opens up. And he has a bottom jaw with these little pincher incisors, whatever you call them. This top part's kind of weird. I guess he has that on the TV show. But I'd say that the face, and he's got these red eyes in there. The bug face is pretty excellent. I like that pretty well. The rest of it's just kind of a mismatch for me. He's not really pegged in super tight everywhere. I mean, I guess the front section is. There are some problems with the shoulders that we'll get to in a minute. The wings are kind of made of this unpainted, flimsy kind of plastic that I think might end up warping over time. You've got clearly exposed hands, and there are other things you can do with the hands. You can flip them upside down if you want. This is the way the instructions tell you to do it, so that's why I've got it that way now. But again, I think if the plan was for this guy to look intimidating, well, he looks like something that you'd swat off with your hand if he came towards you. Let's take the weapon off for a minute and get a closer look at his insect mode. Now again, unlike Trailcutter, there's hardly zero paint here in insect mode. He does have the yellow painted bits right there on top. He does have some nice metallic silver on the top and bottom teeth section. That metallic silver wraps all the way around the eyes. And the eyes themselves, as I mentioned, are painted red. There are actually 2 of them. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get the camera in here good enough for you to see it. But he's got a top eye and a bottom eye on each side. So he has 4 eyes. Articulation in this mode, the wings are on a ball joint, so you can get some movement on the wings and put them up or put them down, whichever it is you prefer. These hands that just kind of sit back here, they're not pegged into anything, so you can move these around. The insect legs, well, they're just kind of locked into place. There is no movement here. These are one solid piece of molded plastic for each leg, up into the curve itself, so there is no stretching them out. You can't really do much with it. I mean, this is a Cyberverse figure, I get that, but hardly no leg articulation whatsoever. Underneath, you don't have a ton of kibble. You have some hollowness right here in the back section, and Hardshell's robot neck, and his head's kind of pointing up toward into his rear there. Ah, and the obligatory Hasbro part number right under the chin. Let's take a closer look at the weapon. The instructions don't tell you anything about the Plague missile launcher. There's no extended bio for the figure or the weapon, so yeah, we're not going to be able to get much more out of it there. As for a closer look on what it looks like, again, as I mentioned in my Trailcutter review, there's no spring here. This is a friction or a tension launcher, whatever you want to call it, but basically, you can push into the back, and it fires a missile. Yippee! As for the two pieces separately, well, you have another wizard staff, and Buck Rogers' spaceship from the 21st century. A beady. That's nice, Buck. As you saw at the beginning of this video, you can peg the weapon into the back right here, and if you ever feel the need to stick this in his arms, which are his back legs, well, you could do that too. Oh, one thing I want to mention also, these shoulder bits, which they become his shoulders, maybe this is just my figure, but it looks like clearly these two things are supposed to peg in together. And on my figure, they just don't. In plastic molded detail, well, there's not much. You got some rivets here in the back, some hollowness up on top for some reason, and we already covered the front part, so that's really it as far as in plastic molding is concerned. Let's get Hardshell transformed, shall we? Alright, transforming our little Insecticon buddy is actually not that difficult. What we want to do is we want to flip him upside down, come in here and grab what will be the legs, and pull these straight down. These two pieces were tabbed together, and they just sort of untab as you pull the legs down. Take the feet, and you want to pull them up. Rinse and repeat on the other side. Turn them around like this. You want to take this whole top section and just spin it around just like that. Spin the whole thing around again. Grab the head, start to pull the head up, and reach in here and pull the whole torso section up as well, just like that. Now that leaves you with kind of a giraffe mode for the neck, so just kind of bring that back down just like that. For the arms, you've got a little tab spot here and a tab slot there, and you want to push them together, marry them up on both sides, and just position the arms down to more of a normal position. You want to come around to the back, take this section right here, move that down just like that, bring the little insect legs with it, come around to the front, take these yellow pieces, which end up being his shoulder covers, and just bring them forward. They don't really snap too good in place, but they're pretty solidly there. At this point, you want to just kind of take the wings, kind of curve them back just like that. You do want to chicken wing his leg right there, so just pull that joint back. You've got a dual hinge. And then bring this part forward like that. And really, at this point, you're ready to stand him up, pose him up, and here we have Hardshell in his robot mode. He's not terrible looking. He's just not great looking either. There are some weird things going on with this figure, like this hip section. Can you see in there? I mean, it's just like a plate. Like you could put food in there and eat a meal. It's just bizarre. You've got these kind of weird holes in the chest right there. I don't really understand what they were thinking with that design. Perhaps show accurate. He's got this kind of long neck right there that kind of jets out. There's no head articulation or neck articulation. I know it's a Cyberverse figure, but something would have been nice. The Decepticon symbol, always a fan. Hard to see in my camera view, but it's a purple Decepticon symbol. Looks good. The face detail, let's look at that up close. I'd say overall it's a pretty good looking face sculpt. It's mean looking. And that's the way you want Hardshell to look. He's got red plastic for the eyes, looks good. And he does have the metallic paint on the face. Got a bit more paint going on here than we had in his bug mode. So he's got yellow paint both in the abdomen, crotch section, sides of the chest, and up here on the shoulder blades. He does have metallic paint on the other side of his arms, and well, that's all the paint that you're going to get here. Not terrible. Now the legs are kind of oddly proportioned. Kind of look like Starscream from the movieverse. I mean, he's chicken-legged. On the back, you know, kibble's not terrible, but you do have the large bug beak kind of hanging down there. You do have the insect legs kind of sticking out to the sides. And again, this neck is just odd. It just kind of jets out real far. And that's weird for me. Again, looking at him from this angle, you can see his abdomen kind of jets inward and his pelvis kind of jets outward. He's like the freaking Elvis of bugs. It's just weird. He does sort of have sideburns too, doesn't he? Taking back a look at the weapon, like you saw when I first posed him up, you can put this in his hand more like a traditional weapon. You can also peg this into his forearm as well. Now you would think that this would also plug into his back, but it just doesn't. So sorry, you're not going to do that. Articulation, it's not great, and really it's because there's a lot of things getting in the way here. So he's got a ball joint for the arm, so he's got a lot of movement that you can do here on the arm. The problem is that this shoulder cover here kind of gets in the way. It kind of feels like it tabs in, but as soon as you move that arm up, it literally pops out. He's got ball joints in his elbows, no hand articulation, although his whole entire forearm does separate due to transformation. Legs are on a ball joint, but because of all this stuff going on back here, you can't really do much with the legs. And of course you've got the chicken hinge on the knee, the chicken hinge underneath the shin, and the foot is on a ball joint. So while he does have a lot of movable parts, it's really difficult to get a good-looking pose out of this figure. Insect mode looks okay. It looks a little bit too much like a mosquito to me. Robot mode, again, looks okay, but difficult posability and odd-looking proportions really kind of ruin it for me. Overall, I would say that this figure for me is not recommended. If you absolutely have to have a new Insecticon in your collection, instead of this guy, I would absolutely hunt down the Fall of Cybertron Kickback. Granted, this one's a deluxe figure. Granted, you'll pay more for this than this guy, but again, if you have to get one, highly recommended, not so much recommended. As with all things on my channel, the opinions are strictly mine, so if you like this guy, by all means, pick him up. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching eBEFOREi video reviews. If you're watching this video anywhere other than YouTube, well, you can find all of my videos at youtube.com/eBEFOREiNet. If you're not a subscriber, click subscribe. Helps me out a lot and lets you know when I have new videos. Best of all, it costs you nothing. If you're addicted to Facebook, well, you can follow me there. I'm at facebook.com/eBEFOREi. And if you want to talk to me on Twitter, I'm there as well. I'm at E_before_I. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again real soon.